Hollowbrook was a small yet mysterious town where every few years someone would vanish without a trace. Most dismissed the stories as myths until Detective Mark Holloway's sister, Claire, disappeared. Claire had gone to meet a friend at a cafe but never returned. Her phone was last active near an abandoned road, ominously called the Vanishing Point. Her car was found parked on the roadside, the door left open. But Claire was gone. Lying on the ground was her phone. Mark checked the last photo she had taken. In it, Claire stood frozen in fear. Behind her was a blurred, shadowy figure with glowing eyes. As Mark dug deeper, he discovered that these disappearances had been happening for centuries. Old town records mentioned entities called the Watchers, shadowy beings that lurked at the edges of vision, and anyone who truly saw them was never seen again. One name kept appearing in these records: Eleanor Finch. She was the only known person to have escaped them. Mark tracked down her last living relative, Arthur Finch, a frail old man in a nursing home. In a whisper, Arthur warned, "If you're looking for Claire, stop. She has seen them. Now they have seen you." Then Arthur placed an old, rusted key in Mark's palm. "This is for the house on Blackwood Lane. If you want answers, go, but be ready for the truth." Mark arrived at the abandoned house. The moment he stepped inside, a strange sensation overtook him, as if reality had shifted. On a dusty table, he found Eleanor's notebooks. Inside, crude sketches depicted the tall, faceless beings with glowing eyes. Then he saw the chilling warning: "Do not look in the mirror at midnight. That's when they look back." A sudden creak sounded behind him. Mark slowly turned. In the corner of the room stood an old, cracked mirror covered in dust. His reflection stared back at him until it smiled. But Mark hadn't moved. The lights flickered. Then everything went dark. The next morning, Mark returned to town, but something was different. People looked at him strangely, as if they didn't recognize him. Panicked, he called his mother. "Mom, it's me, Mark. Have you heard anything about Claire?" There was silence. Then his mother's voice, confused. "Who's Claire?" His blood ran cold. He checked his files, his photos. There was no record of Claire. It was as if she had never existed. Then his phone buzzed. A new picture had appeared in his gallery. It was of him, standing outside the old house on Blackwood Lane. But in the background, a faint shadow loomed, its glowing eyes staring directly into the camera. A second image appeared. The figure was closer now. Mark turned to look at the nearest window. In the reflection, his own face smiled back at him,